And you smell like one too. So, what did you wish for?
I can't tell you, otherwise it won't come true. This week, we're jumping in the Wayback Machine because I found some footage of an old project. An Evangelion EVA1 inspired Winged Hivetyrant that never really made it into a video. And it was pretty good timing because I lost a few days at the beginning of the week and I wasn't going to make a video because one of my kidneys decided to be a Leagues of Votan enthusiast and be all about that rock and stone energy. Fucking asshole. Anyway, we're going to take a look at the steps that we took back then and how I would probably approach the same ideas now. There's no wrong way to paint, but with progress comes perspective.
I'm going to be honest, this was so long ago that I'm going to have to take a stab in the dark at what some of these paints actually were. I have a pretty good idea because, let's be honest, I really only use the same things over and over again. Base coat, easy, that's Terrestrial Titan. And dollars to donuts, if I'm using Terrestrial Titan and I'm stepping up a layer, this is Diabolic Plum. And if you happen to have caught any of the volumetric series that we've done, this is also that. It's a little rougher and not quite as refined, but it's still that. And for those of you that haven't caught the videos and don't know what volumetrics are, TLDR, dark paint goes in the recesses and the lighter we get, the more we're pulling out the shape, so they're going on top. If you want a better explanation than that, you're going to have to catch those other videos. And real quick, because we're talking about something else, if you're wondering what that brighter purple was, again, that was Diabolic Plum, it was just the second coat. And this is Blue Tone Wash. The goal with this was most likely to try and blend all of those chunky layers back and give it a little bit of a blue tint. And for some of those areas where you get a little heavy-handed, that blue over the purple is pure magic. It'll also help pop out details, but we don't really care about that at the moment.
First few steps in, and we're already onto something that I probably wouldn't do now, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Players would never do. A wash. Now, to be fair, there's actually nothing wrong with using washes, it's just something that I don't really integrate into my painting anymore. These days, if I wanted to add a little bit of a blue tinge, I'd probably mix blue into the purple or glaze some blue in a little bit later on. But if you really think about it, a glaze is really just kind of an advanced wash. Tomato banana.
After everything's washed down and tinted back, we're coming straight back in with that Diabolic Plum again. This is really just going to push it back Sachuan Force and give a little bit of extra tonality. As for the physical application, what I'm doing is basically, it looks like I'm just slapping it on there really, and then feathering out as we get past so we get a little bit of a fade, a little bit of a gradient. But as you may start to notice here already, a lot of washes dry with a pretty glossy coat. Especially when you're coming back over with an acrylic paint that generally dries a little bit more matte or somewhere around the satin area, it can be a hard thing to blend back in. Typically, I say don't really worry about it because honestly, who fucking cares? But if you're one of those people that care, right at the end, just hit it with some matte varnish and it'll bring everything back to the same finish, all sorted. But that was a past Heresy problem. Current Heresy really wouldn't be using washes. I think we covered that already. But to be quite honest, I would just be going back to standard paints and either mixing a little bit of blue in with that, or we'd just be coming back and glazing that blue in. Either way, it's getting blue. The other thing that I remember doing a lot back then is playing around with the different consistency of paint and the different consistency of opacity with layers. Because as we've seen, I'm coming back to this Diabolic Plum a lot and it's doing a lot of work. When you thin down a paint, it's not always just about consistency, but also opacity. And even with the thinnest paints like lasers, the more layers you add, the more opacity you're adding as well. And to be completely honest, at this point, I'm not sure if I've jumped into Spellbound Fuchsia or Wicked Pink. It's not wildly saturated, so my vote goes towards Spellbound Fuchsia. These days, I'd probably lean towards more Wicked Pink as a color choice, but I do actually like where this is going, being a little bit more desaturated than what I'd usually do. Good job, past Heresy. You're alright, you can stay.
With the skin done, or whatever passes for skin on a Tyranid, it's time for the Carapace. I remember at the time, I was kind of going for somewhere between EVA1 and a coconut crab, but I wanted it a little bit more organic and gritty. The following is absolutely nothing like how I would approach it now. We might recreate this idea in a future video.
Out of everything in this video, this is probably the part that deviates the most from my current style. The color selection's a little bit out, and honestly so is the application. The outcome is fine, but just not quite what I'd be doing now. What you're seeing on screen right now is 100% deep ocean blue. And honestly, these days, it should be no surprise, but I probably would have started with Terrestrial Titan. One, because yes, purple is dope and dope things happen when you use purple. I'm going to put that on a shirt at some point. But two, it'd actually start to tie everything together with the skin. Everything would just have a little glimmer of purple in there. This right here is the color that's been throwing me the most. My best guess here would be Tidal Blue. And yeah, because we're going for that gritty organic coconut crab kind of feel, I'm stippling it with a fucking dry brush. I mean, it worked at the time, but I'm rolling my eyes like a slot machine. Also, I just remembered this is Deep Azure. Could I have gone back and re-recorded that so I didn't sound like a dickhead? Yes. Did I? No. As far as placement goes, this is basically just going everywhere. The base coat of Deep Ocean Blue is basically just staying in the recesses. But there is a method to the madness. The whole lack of coverage splotchy thing is really just to try and push that organic grittiness. And every time we step up into color, just like right here into green skin, the effect and layers keep on building on top of that idea. And even though the technique and idea is a little bit different, we're going to treat this like any other layer. Every time we step up in color, we're going to cover just a little bit less of the previous layer. It's not quite as defined as the dots that you'd find on actual coconut crab shells, but it's definitely at least pushing towards the concept as a minimum. And also, it doesn't take long at all, which, that's kind of a plus side. It'd be sad if I spent longer on this.
In-games, Army Painter, Heresy 5, cheers. Still tastes like shit.
To start bridging out the gap between the green and where we really want it to go ultimately into the highlights, which will be yellow, we went with Leafy Green because that's right between the two. Leafy Green is a super electric, vibrant green. And honestly, to this day, I still love it. It adds so much punch and vibrancy, and to be completely honest, this is probably the step where it starts to actually feel like it was a little bit deliberate. These days, I think I would be a lot more deliberate. Instead of haphazardly throwing colors down where I think they should be sitting, I'd probably be a little bit more thought out of each individual layer and start to blend them after the fact. But that would also take time, and a lot of it. The other plus side to this is how easy it would actually be to reproduce, especially on an army like Tyranids, which are supposed to be a horde-based army. Also, yes, we are now into yellow and as demonic yellow. Here's where I'm starting to really get a little bit of that detail actually going, and here's where it actually starts to look deliberate. I know there's a point that I'm kind of really driving home and hammering that in, but there is a big difference to something just kind of happening by itself, and then something looking like it was supposed to be there to start with. Which is also why I'm coming back with Deep Ocean Blue and doing a little bit of dark lining around the scales. Adding all of that definition, again, makes it look like it's deliberate. It's a step that really brings everything together, and honestly, 10 out of 10 needed.
Color selection for the wing membrane was a little tougher than you would expect, but we ended up kind of rolling with the EVA1 theme and kind of using the orange from the AT field as inspiration. For the most part, I'm pretty sure we would have stayed roughly along the lines of what happened here, but there are a few other things that I'd add.
Alright, get ready for a move from a dickhead with absolutely zero forethought. Because yes, I'm going to use the airbrush for this entire wing, almost, and I'm starting off with some reason with the tendrils. Or the digits. I really don't know what they call the creepy little fingers between the wing membrane. And by the look of that airbrush, we went basically straight into Diabolic Plum. Now busting out the burning ore, this is why the previous step was 100% useless. As much as it looks like I'm trying to avoid the creepy little wing finger things, I definitely don't by the end of it. But here's the wild part, I would do these exact same steps all over again today. The only difference is I would probably bleed down the Diabolic Plum a little further, so when we do come in with that burning ore, we've got something to blend into. It would essentially just become a free shadow tone. Because as you'll see in the next few steps, after moving out of this orange, I do push a lot further into the middle of each wing section. Because again, I didn't know at this point, but I was painting volumetrically, which is now demonstrated on your screens by the use of demonic yellow. That was supposed to sound a little bit more tongue-in-cheek as opposed to the Australian National Geographic. Oh crikey, it seems we've found the average size medium winged cunt. As a native knifey spoony player, I don't know why my Australian accent is so bad. Also, yes, I am going back over with that demonic yellow, again closer to the center to all these parts. The airbrush spits out incredibly fine atomized paint, so you get incredibly thin layers. So, just like a glaze or any other thin down layer, the more layers you add, the more opacity you get. Regardless of the tools you use, the basic principles very rarely change. I could have done this with a dry brush, still would have had to come back and do it all over. This here is where we start to finally set up the electric feel of the AT field. This is pure ice yellow and I'm coming in incredibly thin and is stupidly bright. Some of the passes were a little heavy-handed, but it's absolutely fine. There's going to be another step that takes care of all of this. Honestly, I think I'd still probably do this too, but I'd probably start hitting it from different angles so I could bring out more of the texture that's already sculpted onto the model. Losing a lot of that definition is probably the biggest bugaboo that I've picked up in a lot of this. Is what it is.
Just like using washes and glazes to create a thin layer to kind of either tint or blend previous layers, you can kind of do the same thing with the airbrush and speed paints.
This is something that I almost never do these days, and honestly, we should probably bring this back. I'm pretty sure this is a maize yellow speed paint from the Army Painter. And the biggest reason why I really wasn't overly concerned with how bright the ice yellow went is because once this comes in, this is really going to blend everything together and smooth it all out. Because speed paints are already incredibly thin and transparent, this really is just tinting the entire surface, and it means we can get in there just a little bit heavier than usual. And when it comes to speed brush with the airbrush, the heavier you go, the closer the blends come in together. Be mindful of that part. Also, yeah, I did have to come back in with the brush and do all those purple bits, as if we wouldn't. But I can't help but thinking a little bit of Diabolic Plum as a base for, some of those shadowed areas, that really would have faded it out just a little nicer. And I'm not going to show you all the steps because it's literally what we did with the entire first part of the video where we just covered all the skin. Terrestrial Titan, Diabolic Plum, Blue Skin Wash, and then what most probably Spellbound Fuchsia. Since painting this, my brush control has improved at least 3%. Now I'd be confident enough to get a lot closer and cleaner to the wing, so all of those little creepy little finger things would actually be completely covered. And again, this is where we're missing out on that additional shadow tone. It would have added depth to the wings themselves and all the shapes, as well as actually filling in a lot of those parts that feel a little undone.
This last dribble of footage is something that we haven't done in a hot minute. It's the Synthwave Candy Corn Blade, and if I'm being honest, I kind of forgot that this was a thing. We should do this more. I think we will do this more.
Even though I forgot that we used to do this a lot, I will never ever forget the recipe. First base coat, Diabolic Plum, and this is going over everything that we want this to be affected by. Next up, we are jumping into that wicker pink because it's super vibrant. And here's where we start pulling out roughly the rule of thirds. And in this context, it means roughly breaking the surface down into equally weighted thirds. And I say equally weighted instead of equally sized because there is some thinner parts, there are some thicker parts. What you want to feel here is the balance. And yeah, even though we're into burning ore, do not let that wicked pink go too far. Because after this, we're going to start to blend those two back in together. This is how we get a nice transition. One thing that is left out and overlooked in a lot of miniature painting videos is the amount of back and forward work there is. That was probably 3 or 4 passes to get that smooth of a transition. And we're going to pull back that same idea with Demonic Yellow. After we get a little bit of that base coat going on here, we're going to bust out that same burning ore and start going back and forward. This time, I'm actually wet blending on the spot. And yes, absolutely, first pass will look pretty rough. Let your layer dry, come back, do it all over again. You're still layering. Ice yellow edge highlight because.
Before we get into the glory shots, here's a final thought. A lot of us are just a little bit guilty for putting our heads down and just getting the work done. Jumping from project to project with the only time that we're really stopping is to have a look to see if it's finished before we pull out the next model. It's taken 2 or 3 years to revisit this model, even though it sits on the shelf and I walk past it multiple times a day. And even then, it was kind of just happenstance. Just putting it out into the ether, maybe we should be soaking in a little bit more of what we've done and accomplished before we really move on to that next project. It's okay to pat yourself on the back every now and again.
Almost every Tyranid video on this channel is based roughly on this scheme. And even though I don't play Tyranids, I've somehow accidentally ended up with about 2,000 points. Is it my finest work now? No. Was it my finest work back then? Still probably no. But it's kinda cool, and that's all that really matters. As always, a massive thank you to InGames, the Army Painter, and the best Patreon members in the world. Big love, you filthy heretics. Oh yeah, if you see a little video there on the left hand side, click it. I dare you.